joining us today to enlighten us all about this literally and figuratively hot chicken chain is Dave's Hot Chicken CEO, Bill Phelps. And welcome, Bill.
Thank you. Nice to talk to you today.
Well, it's a delight for us too. Now, I'm just going to start by getting you to tell me why you think this chain and its food are so popular and they have really gained so much attention from its kind of humble start in what I think was a parking lot.
Yeah, it's actually a great story. Those were three grade school friends, and they one of whom was a chef in Thomas Keller's Bouchon restaurant, and they came up with the idea of a hot chicken, and they came up with an incredible recipe, an incredible process. But the story was they invited the guys from Eater LA, the big blog, food blog, and they came down. The guy came down to the store thinking he was going to see a restaurant. And these guys had taken their life savings and put it into two fryers and put it in a parking lot. And they were serving up chicken in a parking lot. And the great line from the guy from Eater LA, and he tried the product, and he said, Dave's Hot Chicken, the Hollywood stand might just blow your mind.
Oh, man.
That's what got us the lines and the following and the cult following. And my son actually had read it, went down and saw it, and then we made a deal with those guys about a year later.
Isn't that great?
It's great. It's great.
So is it, I mean, as far as the good here, the good is definitely the food. So why do you think it's so popular?
Okay, so it's a great question, and we ask ourselves, why is this so good? The product is absolutely phenomenal. It is every piece is like, it's hot, it's juicy, it's spicy, and it has the right mix of flavors to it, and everything these guys did. And I went down with my wife to try it the first time. And it was one of those that my wife eats fried chicken probably once every 5 years. And she said, this is incredible. She says, you got to do this. And the product is absolutely spectacular, and it's craveable. I sent some women pro golfers down to our store in San Diego. And one of them posted, she said, I think about it every day since I went there. And that's what it is. You have this product that is like, has a cult following because it has such an appeal to it. It's a craveable product you can't describe. The most craveable product I've ever been involved with.
And Bill, for those who don't know, you do have, as we were kind of chatting before we started the interview, you do have some really good bloodlines when it comes to restaurant touring. Tell everybody a little bit about that.
Yeah, well, Rick Wetzel and I were marketing guys at Nestle, and we were on a business trip, went into a mall and saw a pretzel store and said, the food is good, it's fresh, it's everything we learned at Nestle was what the customer was looking for. And so we went up to a bar, grabbed a napkin, and wrote a business plan on the back of a napkin. And that was about 26 years ago. And then we were considered the two dumbest guys to ever work at Nestle, leaving marketing and vice president jobs to run a pretzel store. But 25 years later, we had 350 of them. And then during that time, Rick and Elise Wetzel came up with the idea of Blaze Pizza. I co-invested in that with them, and that started in 2012, and it was the fastest growing restaurant chain in the U.S. And it was a fabulous business, and we've done a private equity deal on that. But I came here after leaving Wetzel's for 25 years, and this is my next gig, and it's the most fun business I've ever worked on.
Oh, isn't that great? Yeah,
It's really great.
So that's kind of the good. Now the bad and the ugly, as in pandemic. And has Dave's Hot Chicken struggled sales-wise? And if so, kind of how much? And similarly, how much has kind of this health problem change the way the brand does business and just daily standard operating procedures?
It's a great question. And we were, like virtually every restaurateur, scared to death when they closed down all the dining rooms across the country in the middle of March. And our business dropped 25% the first couple of weeks. And we were obviously concerned about the future of the business, where we were going with it. But at the same time, we had just started our online ordering process. We had pickup windows at the stores, and we were doing third-party delivery. And to our amazement, by the second week in April, we were back to doing almost the same volume as before. And we were seeing this incredible pickup in the business in the months of May and June. And in the last month, we've hit new records in all of the stores. So the business has just taken off, and we can't really understand why, but we're beating all of our numbers for both projections a year ago, and it's just kind of amazing. It's really fun.
So, how many stores are there now,
We
and
have
kind of
four
where
open.
are they? Yeah.
Okay, we've got three in the LA area, Hollywood, Koreatown, and North Hollywood. And then we opened our first location outside of the LA area in San Diego, Pacific Beach specifically, at the end of May. And every store has been a home run. It blows our mind.
Wow, that's encouraging, and particularly in this environment. And I think everything that I've kind of doing my research that I saw suggests the brand looks to be taking off on some crazy growth in its future. What's the plan for expansion over the next, say, year and 5 years?
We have put together a plan that was similar to what Blaze Pizza did, and we have started franchising. And I hired a wonderful woman, Shannon Swenson, out of Dallas, and we have sold the rights to 200 locations in a period of 9 months. So this thing is just taking off, and we're bringing in phenomenal franchisees. Our bar is very high, like it was with Blaze. We only talk to multi-unit fast food restaurateurs, fast food or fast casual restaurateurs, and that's the key. And people come in, they see our product, they see what we're doing, and they're signing up for 5 and 10 and 20 stores for expansion in their markets.
So, what kind of franchisee is attracted to this concept? Are you seeing any differences?
Uh, well, there's a lot of people that are in concepts that are a little tired and that are a little more complicated, and they see this and they see a simple operation. They see a business that can perform really well with no dine-in, and it's a simple concept, and it gets back to the craveability of the product, and that's what gets people really excited. And then our first franchise location was the one in San Diego, and I tell the story. The guys had the rights to San Diego, and then they were open for 10 days and put a proposal on my desk to go to 40 stores in 4 other markets. They were that excited by the business.
Okay, they're believers. Okay.
Total believers, total believers.
So I'm just guessing here, but I'm assuming the national love affair with heat, as in potent spice, is also the key to the brand's popularity. So, regarding your heat levels, what's the most popular level, and what type of customer orders the Reaper?
Okay, great question. The most of the business is done in the mild to hot range. That's where people like to go. It's more middle of the road. But then we also have extra hot, extra hot, and the Reaper. And what kind of person buys the Reaper? it's a real variance. There are people that do it on a dare, and you have to sign a general release of claims in order to get the Reaper. So you literally sign away, and it's more of a marketing shtick and a fun aspect of the marketing. But people sign the release, and then they try the product, and they'll share it with their friends, or they'll eat it by themselves. And it's two groups: it's people really taking a dare, really wanting to go the distance. And then there are people that just love really crazy, hot, spicy food. And it's only accounts for in the range of 3 to 4% of the sales. But some people just absolutely love it.
Well, don't count me in that group.
Okay.
I'm a real weenie when it comes. I just say it right now. Um,
But the thing about it is, it appeals to everybody because you can literally get no spice, and it is a delicious chicken sandwich, and it's hot, juicy, and a little bit of spice to it. But then you can go all the way, so you can vary it, and over time you can go a little hotter or a little more mild, depending upon your taste on that day.
Now, kind of on that juicy end of things, I understand brining is kind of a key part of the preparation of this chicken for Dave's Hot Chicken. So, is that still the case? Has it changed any formula wise since that LA parking lot days?
We haven't changed hardly anything, and we have great founder partners. The original partners own about half the business, and we brought in investors, and myself, Rick Wetzel, own the other half of the business, but we keep the founders very close to us. I listen to them on the recipes, I listen to them on the processes, and we're not varying from that. And the other key aspects to the business, one of the original founders is the marketing guy, and he has a better marketing sense than any MBA I worked with at Nestle. He just has it in his gut, and he knows how to connect with his customers. We have 135,000 followers on Instagram, which is off the charts, and he literally connects with them on a daily basis. And it's fun, it's interesting, and he puts up pictures that just make the product craveable. And so that's the key to our marketing. Is one of the founders is just a Instagram genius, and he's done an amazing job. And then we have another founder who I call the real estate whisperer, and he has a gut for real estate like nobody I've ever seen. And we don't pick a location without him approving it because he has a sixth sense for real estate.
And then the chef.
The chef is phenomenal. And I talked to the chef this week about any changes we could be making and anything we're doing, and I listened very carefully to the chef. He was known as the spice nerd in his culinary school. While the other guys were looking at baking projects, he'd be in the spice room, and he was seeing what different spices could do to a product. And so it was just ironic that his product that he eventually landed on was a spicy chicken, a hot chicken product. And all of the spices that he studied while in school are the ones that he's incorporated in these recipes.
I love those. You have the real estate whisperer, the spice
Yeah.
nerd, and I believe the marketing maven. So,
Yep.
let's give them a shout out. What's their names again?
Okay. So you've got Dave Capuchian is the guy who's the chef, who it's named after. And there's Arman, Arman Oganessian. I'll send you the spelling on that. And then there's Gary Rubenian, and he's a few years older than the other guys. And Gary's brother Tommy was the other founder, but Gary is the real estate whisperer.
Wow. What a group. Now, so that brining is staying the same.
I'm
From
not. We're trying to keep it as pure to what these guys originally came up with as possible. We've got a phenomenal product, that is craveable and delicious, and I don't want to change it.
From my end, Dave's Hot Chicken, and really you kind of touched on the edges of this. It appears to have a relatively simple menu. So, how important is that kind of simplicity to the brand? How do you provide variety to customers, or do you? Is that something they want?
It's a great question again. How do you do it? And they're the guy that they like, the brand that they look at as their emulator brand, if you will, is In and Out. And In and Out does an absolutely phenomenal job with an extremely limited menu. And by definition, if you're in the restaurant business, you know the bigger that menu gets, the more things you can screw up. And conversely, the more narrow the menu, the easier it is to do it incredibly well. And that's what we focus on. And so all of our chicken is based on one product, and we make sliders, but you get variety, whether you can go with just a tender or you can go with a slider. You can get it with cheese, you can get it with sauce, and then obviously you can get it at 7 different levels of heat. So it can be different every time you try it. But the product just has this incredible appeal to it because of the variety of spices.
It looks beautiful in the pictures, I'm telling you. I mean, I'm not out in California, so I don't have access to it, but it looks like you wanna pick it up and just take a bite.
You do. And my wife said, she went to the store and then she follows her on Instagram and she goes, the pictures on Instagram just make you want to go there. You just like have to go. And that's the appeal of the Instagram marketing. And that's why it's worked so well for us.
Well, now, finally, I'm kind of wondering about your side items. Of
Yep.
them, you have a kale slaw, is it?
Kale slaw. Yes.
So, is that a top choice? And how important are sides to your overall bottom line?
Sides, everyone basically gets a side because people are ordering in combos, and so a side will come with that. But the lion's share of we offer kale slaw, we offer mac and cheese, but then or offer fries, and 90% of the business is in the fries. That's where people go. It's the perfect complement to the sliders or the tenders.
Well, how can you go wrong? Um,
You can't go wrong. It's phenomenal. And I sit here and think about it. I've been doing this for more than a year and a half now, and I can't wait for our next product tasting because I get to go down and eat days for lunch.
well, thank you so much. It sounds
Okay.
like you don't need any help, so we just wish you continued success with this venture, and I think you're gonna get it.
I appreciate it. It's very nice to talk to you.
It's nice to talk to you.
Thanks. Have a great day.
And to our listeners, don't go away now because in just a brief second, we'll be back with digital customer experience expert Dan Lubetzky from Publicis Sapient. Stay with us. All right, now we are back and moving from one hot topic to another now. We turn to the much discussed possibility that we might be heading into even tougher economic times in coming days, meaning value-based dining will become even more important to consumers. That suggests an even stronger role for QSRs that not only offer that value pricing, but also have adapted their delivery and takeout tech to fit market demand into the future. But there's still room for improvement for many brands. And at a time when only those QSRs that have their digital houses in order will survive, it pays to be ahead of the curve. Fortunately, we have a pro in house to cover the essentials of that subject today. In Publicis Sapiens Travel and Hospitality Practices Senior Director of Customer Experience and Innovation, Dan Lubetzky. And welcome, Dan.
Hi, Shelley. Glad to be here.
Delighted to have you. Now, just a little bit of brief background on you for our audience. You have 14 years of experience in digital strategy and consulting, analytics, CRM, and integrated marketing and media with expertise in really pinpointing the best ways brands can boost their digital sales. So, if you can, first today, just give the restaurant leaders listening an idea of what digital's role really is, or at least can be, during a recession and how that differs from its role in more economically stable times.
Definitely. One of the interesting things is there are some predictions that we are going to be entering a recession before the pandemic. This both was in general economic analysis as well as in the restaurant vertical specifically. Then we've seen the impact of COVID-19, the economic challenges people face, jobs being lost, and a lot of pivoting within the broader restaurants, informal eating out, QSR category. And we've also seen this tremendous shift towards digital transformation. And all of these are hitting right around the same time. So the role of digital is crucial. It's been a crucial journey to transform. It's even more important while going through the pandemic. And during a recession, digital tools are going to be critical in captivating engaged audiences in new ways as their routines shift. So I think the combination has led to some interesting insights. Specifically, NPD Group has shared that digital restaurant ordering, adults 65 and older, increased over 400% year over year in June. That isn't a recession-specific insight, but as we look at new audiences that may have not been as engaged in digital channels before, now having a broader set of capabilities while more people are at home, potential day parts being impacted as you lose the normal work routines. We look at different ways in which you may order and fulfill the respective menu items during the day, and the impact of changing health considerations. As during recessions, there's insights that you're not as concerned about your overall health and eating habits. We're going to see this influx of how digital can capture engaged audiences in new ways.
All right, now let's hone in maybe a little further, if we may, and have you tell us some ways QSRs can really drive value for customers during an economic downturn.
Most definitely. During a recession, it's pretty clear that there's a lot of value and price sensitivity. It's important to consider every dollar you spend. And as you may shift from having more spend in the restaurant space when you're eating out or in fine dining, that may shift moving back to more informal eating out or fast casual, even into QSR as well. As you look at the ways in which digital it can be kind of most apparent and kind of pinpoint to driving high value with customers is through a couple factors that really come to life in a digital channel that are that much harder in a physical space. So the combination of being able to drive different price motivators that are personalized to a customer's experience, profile, past ordering, leveraging data and AI to really harness these recommendations, you can drive that right deal or promotion for the customer in the moment. You can leverage that through a variety of digital channels, whether the customer has the mobile app of a given restaurant chain or is kind of shopping or engaging with content on the web, or maybe seeing an ad through a social channel. As we look at the influx of that social engagement, having that right offer at the moment is even more important. Some of the other factors I think are around bundling. So what specific products may go better together as we see changes in eating habits, as we see changes in family dynamics, and as we see the kind of importance once again for that dollar going as far as it can. How can you bundle your products and package them up in a really friendly way that drives that engagement? That also leads us into family packages. So if you're now not just buying a meal for yourself, maybe at lunchtime in a past routine going to work, but now it's lunchtime for the family. How can a restaurant group be there to support the ever-changing dynamics we have in a kind of less traditional mode of operation, and during a time when you need to take care of a kind of hungry bunch? Another example of that would be bulk orders. And not just maybe your family, but now you're ordering for a group. You want to find a way to have entertainment, but you're going to manage your budget, manage your wallet. How can you have ordering for more? And all of these factors are elements that, through the use of digital tools that can connect to the restaurant's operations and can, be synced from the menu and the overall offering, the best way to display that and to engage the customer is right at your fingertips. And so digital kind of brings all of this up to the forefront. And I wrap that with a growing trend in loyalty. So how important may it be to both be getting an offer or deal when there are clear rules and opportunities around price motivators, but also driving longer term value for the customer as they're building into a loyalty program, knowing that they have an ability to continue to buy and reap rewards with the restaurant group. And the restaurants and QSRs are actually gaining insights about their customers to better support them during a time of need.
Wonderful. So really driving home loyalty through loyalty, through the loyalty apps and programs that you've got. So if you can, let's now focus just on the U.S. and explore what you see as the businesses that are best poised to succeed in a recession.
I think there have been a lot of great digital transformation efforts across the space over the last several months while we're dealing with all of these changes. Some of the brands who are really poised to continue, if not see an increase, are some of the kind of constant growth through the spring into summer and pizza chains. Domino's has been doing an incredible job in ensuring that it is easy to order food from them, as few touches, as few clicks as possible. Any way you want your food delivered, they're innovating and bringing that to the forefront. They're leveraging a digital platform to basically scale. And this was spoken about in their Q2 earnings call. I think they're poised to really drive value into a recession. And we've recently seen them even looking at a couple product innovations, which they haven't really brought into market in a long time. I think it was quoted 8 years since they had brand new product shared. One of which, driving on a trend in sort of the Taco Tuesday um, uh, excitement, and actually having a kind of taco based pizza. And so being able to innovate from the core while being able to drive physically or metaphorically the food to wherever you are as conveniently as possible is critical. So they're poised to do very well. I think we're seeing other brands who've been really pushing digital agenda forward, with Chipotle too. Doubling down on contactless, mobile order ahead, using their Chipotle lanes, and really actually scaling out new methods to fulfill orders and get the food delivered to you. There are, of course, like many, on third-party delivery channels as well. And I think it kind of encapsulating that, where they're driving a lot of this through the use of data, is another tremendous example. Dunkin' Donuts, similarly, I think is in a great spot. How they have scaled in that highly convenient, high volume coffee market and bakery, is similar approach in terms of the overall digital platform, in bringing out kind of new value through loyalty and driving the contactless capabilities. So pretty similar pattern in terms of the on-the-go ease of picking up or getting your food delivered, and use of digital to both spark the ordering and then reap the longer term value through loyalty. Lastly, I think when we look at just sheer volume and overall foundation, McDonald's is in a great position as well. They and several others in 2008 were able to basically succeed as much as possible, or be resilient, if you will, during the last recession. And I think being able to leverage customer insights, manage the menu, and deliver to customers' needs, with digital being one of the most critical ways to do that, we're going to see them continuing to support their very large customer base too.
Fascinating. Now, let's not forget, though most of us would probably like to, that all this is taking place in the midst of this pandemic. So, then, based on what we've seen from the COVID-19 crisis, what other considerations do you think QSR leaders should be thinking about right now and into the future?
While we're going through COVID-19, did want to do a little comparison to 2008 because the world has changed. So in 2008, we saw QSRs prove the resilience per the last question, and some of the top restaurant chains saw, while the growth slipped, they were still growing. So it was reported that in 2008 there was a growth slip to 3.4% in 2008 compared to the 5% in 2007. Being able to look at 2008 versus now, we have a different set of capabilities that the restaurants direct ability to engage with customers. We have this influx of customer data and new channels. We have the transformation agenda. And so while this impact of COVID has led to some insights that we'll get into, I think it's also been an accelerant for why digital is so important. So as we look at some of these key factors today, we know safety, contactless, and being mobile first are imperatives. We're seeing that across every restaurant group, from your local mom and pop to the large QSRs that are, global reaching. We're seeing the kind of weaving of digital and mobile as different uses within that. How can they inform and support customers and be a platform for supporting their own employees and crew and franchise partners, as well as being utilitarian in actually facilitating the order and experience, whether that's in serving something through the third-party delivery channels or fulfilling it themselves, or being that supporting touch point as you go contactless through drive-through. That category is a tremendous importance and most definitely new to today from 2008. In addition, I think some of the other unique factors we're going to see are, we'll probably see high traffic in the curbside and drive-through. Curbside and drive-through are not new, but they are growing and ever more important as we look at this shifting tide between the combination of economic concerns and COVID-19. So for the most part, we're seeing drive-through make up something between 50 and 70% of total revenue in 2019. This means the importance of drive-through is there. And we look at the impact of COVID-19, we're still seeing high engagement in the drive-through. Companies like McDonald's and Starbucks both reported that over 90% of sales in Q2 2020 came through the drive-through. So when we look across the sector, we're going to see the need to still be able to fulfill meals and drive as much traffic as possible through these, somewhat now traditional channels. And I think the digital implication of it is going to be a bit unique as we look at innovations around ordering at the drive-through, recommendation engines, personalization, menu customization, and ensure that you're still driving as much traffic through and as quickly as possible for performance while delivering that. We also may see some innovations in terms of pickup around potentially walk-up pickup options, grab and go features, so that we're still getting use out of physical space, but being as contact-free or contactless as possible in different settings when we're talking about, urban versus rural, along a highway versus in a downtown environment. I think we'll see some changes just in terms of the growth and importance of those areas, and some slight innovations around those two channels. Delivery has become a critical channel for QSRs, But I specifically believe we're going to see growth through the third-party services. Those who are already offering new services to customers and to different restaurants, such as DoorDash coming out with a marketplace. But in addition, from a specific value standpoint, the ability for the third-party services to offer promotions, deals with their increased restaurant options. So being able to have consistent engagement with a wide variety of restaurants, local favorites, new entrants, and your constant chains that you may engage with, but be able to package that with high use of first party data that they have gleaned over growing their market share, and then being able to kind of leverage that to help provide the customer with really relevant promotions and deals. I think we will see additional growth there and new tests and innovations try to support customers through the recession. I think there still may be some challenges, though, in the category where we may see spend being cut back on different parts of the broad restaurant vertical in areas that are potentially things like bakery or higher end coffee, where these just may be areas where customers choose not to spend. And maybe they're making, coffee in their own kind of methods at home instead. So I think there may be different ways in which customers are saving that impact just broad reach of those respective restaurants in a channel like delivery. But in general, I believe there'll be additional growth in the space.
Dan Lubetzky is Senior Director of Customer Experience and Innovation at digital consultancy Publicis Sapient in its travel and hospitality practice. You have been a true wealth of information for our listeners and myself today, Dan. So thanks so much for your time. And that goes for our audience's time too, for which QSR Web is eternally grateful every show. For now, then, we'll sign off and wish you a great day and great business. Bye now.